Evening, folks. Brian here. Friday, November 22, 2024. So this is a hydro line right in front of my house. And what you're looking at is a plasma discharge, electric discharge, caused by ionization of the air around the power lines. Now this happens during solar storms, such as the one that apparently has just finished. However, I do have a theory explanation here. I'm going to wait to the end of this video before I get into it. So these are the horizontal crossbars that the corona or the plasma is being transmitted along between the capacitors. So normally when our protective magnetic field is at 100% full strength, that's when the magnetic poles are more or less, doesn't have to be exact, but more or less antipodal. So we have neat, organized magnetic field lines leaving the south magnetic pole and circling the planet and coming back into the north magnetic cusp. However, during reversals or geomagnetic excursions, such as we're in now, the magnetic field lines become disorganized, tangled, a mess. This is a NASA animation that shows you the flow of the solar winds, the charged particles. So this is our magnetopause, the front edge of our protective magnetosphere, magnetopause. Highly charged particles carried in the solar winds. Normally, our protective magnetic field will deflect the highly charged particles, radiation, and funnel them down the magnetic cusps into the planet. I want you to pay attention where NASA places the magnetic poles. They are placing magnetic north already in Siberia. And when the highly charged particles enter our atmosphere and interact with the atmospheric atoms, they create what's called the northern lights or the auroras. Normally confined to the polar cap regions, normally. Now, I say normally if our field is 100% full strength. The poles where they should be. But now we have this. And the proton event, of course, originated from a large explosion on the backside of the sun yesterday. Coming up. So all those white speckles and streaks are actually the protons hitting the sensors of the satellite. So like I said, our protective magnetic field is in a state of flux, constant change, developing multiple magnetic poles, wandering and changing, allowing multiple points of penetration for the highly charged particles, whether they come from flares and resulting CMEs, coronal mass ejections, increased solar winds from coronal hole openings, to solar radiation events, proton storms. So the highly charged particles are no longer confined to entering the polar cap regions. Now I'm down at 49th latitude, close to the US border. I've seen this happen a few times before during solar radiation storms. Lights up the hydro lines right in front of my house. Nice light display. That's the ionization of the air around the power lines in insulators, cross members. That's my belief, what's going on. Like I said, in order to have a 100% protective magnetic field, the magnetic poles need to be more or less antipolar, direct opposite to each other. But now they're like this. North is over here, south is coming closer, destabilizing and weakening those magnetic field lines, creating multiple, magnetic poles. I believe they are shifting. This also allows further breakdown of the ozone over different areas. So like here in British Columbia in summer 2021, what they're trying to tell you, big heat dome, was in fact increased levels of ultraviolet C radiation coming in, which caused a lot of crop damages down here. It's not the heat from the sun, it's the heat from the radiation. So there you go.